Hello everybody, I'm Tanner. I hope all you are doing well. Today I want to share a very important information, and our topic is: was Jesus crucified or not according to the Quran? As you know, the Muslims don't believe that Jesus was crucified, and there are 2 billion Muslims in the world. I will talk about this. Before I want to introduce myself, I am an academic researcher on religions and Christianity, and I am also the writer of this book, The Evolving Gospels, and I will talk about it at the end of this video. But today's topic is not that, is the crucifixion. Now, before we start, we need to know that there are 2 big theological differences between Christianity and Islam. The first is the Trinity. The Trinity, as you know, is accorded officially on 325 at the First Council of Nicaea in Turkey. And the second one that is our topic today, the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. Even we have a lot of information about his crucifixion. Roman documentation, official Roman documentation, the historians' documentation, the Gospels, the canonical Gospels and the Apocrypha, all these documents are talking about that Jesus was really crucified, but we have 2 billion Muslim people in the world that they don't believe the crucifixion, how it can be. Okay. We need to know another thing that it is very important: the theological basis of actual Islamic belief system. What are 2 theological bases of the Islamic belief system? And the answer is, first is the Quran. The Quran is written by Muhammad, and he lived between 570 and 632. The second one is the prophetic narrations and the scholars' interpretation of these narrations and the Quran. Now, this is very important. I would mention that these narrations with the adjective at the beginning, supposedly prophetic narrations. Why? Because they were written at least 230 years after Muhammad's death. And in today's Islamic world, there is a big separation between the new scholars. They are thinking that we cannot accept these narrations, because how we can accept the narrations that supposedly is prophets' narrations, but they were written 230 years after his death, and they are explaining the Quranic verses. So, in today's Islamic world, there is a big separation between the people that accept for their theological basis of understanding the Quran, these narrations, and at the other hand, there are people they don't accept not about these supposedly prophetic narrations. So today's presentation will only based on the Quran and not the supposed prophetic narrations. Okay, now why the Muslims don't believe that Jesus was crucified? Okay, there is a verse in the Quran, chapter 4 and verse 157, that they apparently talked about Jesus' crucifixion. Before I read this, I would mention this second thing, and it's very important. For example, you have a book in your hand that is written on 1770, and you have another book that is written on 2000. So between these 2 books are 230 years difference. Now, for example, in the first book, you can read a verse, for example, that this wall is white And the second book, you have an interpretation, or you have a comment that the writers of the first book one day said that maybe the white color would mean also green. So when you read again the first book, when you read that the wall is white, you will understand, or you will think that okay, the wall is white, but it also could mean that the wall is green, because the second book is talking about that white would be also green. So this is the exact thing in the Islamic world. Even they have the Quran in their hands, they are not understanding the Quran by its literal understanding, but they are understanding the Quran with the influence of these supposed prophetic narrations and the other scholars' interpretation. Now, in order to understand why the Muslims claims that Jesus was not crucified, and they are showing that their base is the Quran and this verse, first I will read the traditional translation, and after I will read a little translation to understand if really Quran is talking about Jesus' crucifixion or not. Okay. And for their saying, indeed we have killed the Messiah, Jesus, the son of Mary. Now the text is talking about the Jewish people, and according to this verse, they said, indeed we have killed the Messiah, Jesus, the son of Mary. As you know, Quran is talking about Jesus as the Messiah, not the other one. There is only one Messiah in the Quran, and he is Jesus. He is the Messiah with the article. And also Jesus, Quran believed that Jesus' mother was virgin, the Virgin Mary. Okay, so Jewish people said, indeed we have killed the Messiah, Jesus, the son of Mary, the messenger of God. Now this is the most important part of the verse. And they did not kill him, nor did they crucify him, but another was to resemble him to them. So this is the traditional translation. You have parentheses on that translation. The Muslim people believe that instead of Jesus, who were killed on the cross, was another person. God changed his face, and the people saw this person and they thought that he was Jesus, but in reality he was not Jesus. This is what they believe. Now we will go to the literal translation of chapter 4 and verse 157. And for their saying, indeed we have killed the Messiah, Jesus, the son of Mary, the messenger of God. Now, I would mention also this. The context is that you can read it, and I will save time. In order to save time, I will not read it. You can read it by yourself. The verse 153, 54, 55, 56, and 157, the context of these verses is that God sealed some of the Jewish hearts because they killed prophets in the history, and also they said Mary that she committed adultery. So God sealed their hearts because of these. And also the 157 is, and for their saying, indeed we have killed the Messiah, Jesus, the son of Mary, the messenger of God. So basically the verse is saying that God sealed their hearts because they said that they killed Jesus, the Messiah. And this is very important. Now, this point is the most important part of the verse. And they did not kill him, nor did hang him, but people suspected about them. I don't know if you can see the difference between the first translation and this translation. As we know, as all the historians know, Jesus was killed by the Romans, not the Jewish people. So the Quran is not talking about Jesus' death, but it's talking about that the Jewish people don't kill him, and nor did they hang him. They did not kill him. And we know, of course, they did not kill him. Who killed Jesus were the Romans, not the Jewish people. So can you understand, can you imagine 2 billion people don't believe that Jesus was crucified because of their understanding of this verse or their interpretation. And the verse is not talking about that another person God changed his face and another person died on the cross. There is nothing about that on the verse. Shubbiha lahum means in Arabic language but people walakin shubbiha lahum, but people suspecting about them. The people suspected about them. So the context is not talking about the crucifixion of Jesus. The context is that God sealed Jewish hearts, some of the Jewish people's hearts, because of their saying, not doing, because of their saying that indeed we have killed the Messiah Jesus. And they did not kill him, nor did they hang him. Of course not. All we know this. So naturally, they cannot have the conclusion that Jesus was not crucified according to this world. This is a big mistake. I hope that this point of view could open a lot of people's eyes, because Quran is not in contradiction with the history. How this book can contradict if Quran is claiming that its divine origin? It cannot contradict the history, because the crucifixion of Jesus Christ is an historical information as the Second World War, and that it happened. And the text is not talking about that Jesus was not crucified. The text is talking about that Jewish people were not the killers of the Messiah. Even they claim that. So this is a very big difference between the Islamic theology about Jesus' death and the Quran's theology about Jesus' death. Okay, I want to mention another verse about Jesus' death that will support this point of view, and it will be first I will read the traditional translation of chapter 5 and verse 117, and after I will mention the literal translation. I said not to them except what you commanded me. Now the context is here that Jesus is talking with God, and God asked him what he did when he were in the world, and Jesus answered God, I said not to them except what you commanded me, to worship God, my Lord and your Lord. And now this is the critical point. And I was a witness over them when I was among them. This is the traditional translation. Now we will see the literal translation of the verse 5, the chapter 5, verse 117. I said not to them except what you commanded me, to worship God, my Lord and your Lord. And now the critical part. And when I was with them, I have become a martyr for them. The word shaheed in all Arabic dictionaries means martyr. Even you see the diachronic linguistic dictionaries of the Arabic language, you can see that the word shaheed means martyr. Because of his crucifixion, Jesus Christ is the first of martyrs for Christianity. And the verse is saying that when I was with them, I have become a martyr for them. That's exactly the same belief in the Christianity. The Christians claim that Jesus was killed for them. He became a martyr for them. So the Quran is telling that Jesus was a martyr for them. Is not denying Jesus' death on the cross. That is, I hope this would bring a new approach to understand Quranic verses and to see that Quran is not in contradiction with the history. That is for today. I mentioned that I would talk about my book just a little bit. It's about the Trinity, the first of the two big theological differences between Christianity and Islam. I subtitled it The Hidden Mystery of 2000 Years. I ask you to please read this book and give me your feedback. I think it can bring a lot of new information about the sources of the Trinity, the conclusion that Christians have about this, and I think that it would be also challenging. Have a blessed day and thank you so much.